Hello, everybody. Reed Wallach back here to preview 3 of the 4 College Football Playoff Quarterfinal games using my Rithmm pressure run model. As you see here below, got 3 picks going to run through them. We're going to go all of the New Year's Day games. We're going to go right down the line here, starting with the Texas-Arizona State over 52. Slight edge in my model, as you see here, a 54.1% win probability, checking in with a projected total of 52.9. Texas, we watch them put up nearly 40 points on Clemson at home. Now they go to play in the Peach Bowl. They're going to take on an Arizona State team that really stout against the run. So I think this game is going to look different than the first matchup. But what I really think is going to be the difference as I go over to the stats tab in the Rithmm app, all the stuff could just be found right here within the app. But go over to things like hits, right? So this is all going to be filtered by power conferences. Go down to hits. So are you getting pressure on the quarterback? Arizona State, less than 2 times per game. Same thing can be said for tackles for loss. Arizona State checking in 51st amongst power conference teams. They're not going to be able to push Texas back. They're not going to be able to get pressure on Quinn Ewers. I think there are going to be some chances to go down the field with this Texas offense. So I think Texas is going to dictate this. And I like the over here. My model likes the over because I do think Arizona State can find some answers against Texas. I think this Texas defense being a little overrated. We saw Clemson move the ball pretty well against the Longhorns. I think Arizona State with a lower total than what it was at times against Clemson. That number was bet down, obviously soared over. I think we can see a similar type of thing here with Arizona State playing from behind, aggressive coach and Kenny Dillingham. I think we see Arizona State get into like the mid-teens, low 20s, but Texas, again, flirt with high 30s, 40 points, and they go over the total in the Peach Bowl. The middle of the day will be the Rose Bowl rematch between Oregon and Ohio State. As you can see in my Rithmm model, myself, we like Oregon plus 2.5 against the Buckeyes. Make this game a near coin flip. I agree. I think the Ducks and Buckeyes are 2 like-minded teams. We saw this matchup already in Eugene. Oregon won, basically a coin flip, right? Since then, Oregon has continued to look the part. Ohio State, they looked really good against Tennessee, but still, now down 3 starters on the offensive line over the balance of the season. Is that going to start to pan out here? I know Ohio State is the high-end pass catchers like Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, but you look at what can dictate this game, and it's the defensive line, especially against an Ohio State front that is looking really worse for wear. There's not much separating these teams. Look, Ohio State 3rd in hits, Oregon 8th, tackles for loss. Again, this is amongst power conference teams. You got Oregon towards the middle of the pack here. Got Oregon in terms of tackles for loss, 41st, so slightly below average. But I don't know with Ohio State's defense or with Ohio State's offensive line if they're going to be able to hold up over the course of the game, keep pushing forward, get margin on this Oregon team that already hung 30+ on this Buckeyes defense. So I don't know that there's a ton of adjustments to be made here. This game looks like a coin flip. I think it should be a pick. My model agrees, maybe a slight edge to Ohio State in terms of winning. But in a coin flip game this close, I think it's going to come down to who can execute in the red zone and who can really convert on those 4th down tries. I'll take the points with the Ducks. Last game, nightcap on New Year's Day. Got a slugfest between Georgia and Notre Dame. My model likes Georgia. They make them nearly a 4-point favorite. I agree. I like Georgia as well. I think that the drop-off from Gunnar Stockton to Carson Beck is either negligible or not as much as you would think. I actually think that this could suit Georgia better because to me, Carson Beck is the more polished passer, pro prospect, but what is evident is that this Georgia pass catching group isn't as great as it was last year. Mrs. Brock Bowers and Mrs. Ladd McConkey. I think with Stockton and an extra week and a half to prepare, Georgia can scheme a good game plan where they can finally show Notre Dame what it's like to be the less talented team in the trenches on both sides of the ball. We've seen Notre Dame all season flex its muscles against worse defensive lines, worse offensive lines. That's not the case in this one. We saw it against Indiana. We're not going to see it against Georgia. Notre Dame now down defensive tackle Riley Mills. This is a team that's been tested in terms of defensive injuries all season long. And you go through, let's just add Notre Dame to our filter here. Notre Dame, just going to add them. So you got power conferences and Notre Dame. Go over here, tackles for loss, Notre Dame. towards the top of the country here in terms of tackles for loss. Right there, checking in right around the national average, 46 in the country in terms of tackles for loss per game. And this is against a bunch of teams that have been, for the most part, far inferior to the Irish. This is a team that the defensive line's been banged up. Now you're losing one of your key cogs and Mills. I think Georgia's going to be able to run the ball at will. This could be a big game for Trevor Etienne, who was banged up at the end of the season, played hurt in the SEC championship game, had a big impact with Stockton coming in for Beck in the second half. I think Trevor Etienne is someone to target against this Notre Dame defensive line that might be a little overrated now going up to face SEC competition. We saw Notre Dame against Texas A&M, real physical, grinded out game. I think we could see something similar. I agree with my model, liking Georgia quite a bit. So at a small point spread, you want to lay a cheap money line, all for it when laying with the dog. So there you go, guys. 3 New Year's Day picks for you in the College Football Playoff. Over 52 in Texas, Arizona State. Oregon, plus 2.5 against Ohio State. And then Georgia, minus 1.5 against Notre Dame. Enjoy the games. We will be back for the semifinals next week.